Okay, so we're just gonna start because so it's a long one, isn't it? These ones, huh? Okay, so welcome to the live show, the second one I've done. Um, and you no, it's the second one. I was about to be like, you know the drill. No, that's not exactly true. Um, so what we do here is we do albums. We get an album and hopefully able to do it in one show sitting, which should take an hour. We didn't get through the entire album last time. I'm not expecting to get through the entire thing this time because I only want to stream for about an hour, and but I'll do as much as I possibly can. If you're wondering what the difference between this and an actual podcast is first of all it's live, and also kind of exclusive because I don't upload all of these. um, I only upload some if I'm out for a time and I really want to do it. I really want to do it. So, and I really want to have an episode out. But I don't think I'm going to re-upload this one, so it makes it exclusive. But if I do, it'll be months, months time. Months time I'll do that, maybe. It depends on my mood. Um, but yeah, year maybe. I don't know. It's already the end of 2021. So yeah. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna go. We're gonna do the. I'm gonna switch it because the stream already started. Oh yeah, another thing about live shows is that there's audience interactions. We don't usually have a lot of those. However, it's an option. um, because you gotta have options. You can't just not have options. So what we do here is we just talk about albums. We give you as much history as we possibly can with them until I get tired or the stream gets boring. So about an hour. Because after this I'm gonna record another episode for this show. So dedication. Woo! So yeah, second live show. Today we're gonna be doing Revolver by the Beatles. The '60s band. Revolver came out in 1966. But before that, let's go over the audience interactions. Again, we don't have a lot of those, but it's nice to go over them just because why not? We still got 9 minutes until it officially starts, so might as well take up some of that talking about what we're going to talk about. Um, and of course, later on, you can see this again. It's just a tiny picture, though, so it's nice to see it here, and I may go back to it a couple times. Um, so here's the things you can do for fun in chat. And this is just like, you can just do this. You don't have to ask, like, oh, here's a video. I'll watch it if you send me one, if it's, appropriate. Like, that would be fun. Um, so, here's the chat things you can do. You can request some classic music trivia, and if I don't know it, Google will. So if you have and classic music is 1999 and under, so no, you cannot request your Drakes. um, so yeah, but like and if I don't know, Google will, as I've already said. So if you give me something I don't know, I'll just look it up and give it to you. But I know the actual good sites, and also you can hear it from me, a certified expert. No, well, you can tell us what you know. Give us a random classic music fact in chat, and I'll read it. Um, so if you want to show off your smarts, you can just do that, and I'll read it on stream. And again, if this gets re-uploaded in the future, you can hear yourself on a show. That's another fun thing. If you do something in chat, then I can read it, and then if it ever gets re-uploaded, which I'm not sure about this one because I did the last one, then you can hear it on the show, which is another fun thing. Um, you can give me a video to watch, please YouTube, please YouTube videos. I'm not going to Vimeo today. um, Also, please make it classic album, song, artist, band related. I don't want to be watching a Markiplier video for about 20 minutes time on a live show for something else because I gotta keep it, in a certain genre because I've labeled genres on Twitch and if the tags mean everything. If you have any questions about the list, ask in chat. Also, you can do whatever you want in chat. Basically, I don't care. I'll read it every once in a while, and then you can, hear me do that. Um, yeah, sorry, there was a little feedback. I have a Nintendo Switch here to kind of make sure that my audio's not like messed up, so I'm gonna check that every once in a while too. Um, so if you want to know the resources I'm gonna be using today, oh yeah, God, I have to actually 1 second. I have to, I have to mention this. um, we have a live shirt. I think it's on the other slide anyway, but it's whatever. We have a live shirt. Um, I have an Instagram notification. I don't want to check it. We have a live shirt. If you want to get it, you can go to tinyurl.com/ATYA live 2, spelled out TWO. It's all one word. And I'm just going to say at ya, but at ya means ATYA, standing for all those years ago. So it's not like some acronym you have to conspiracize about. I made up that word. Thank you very much. Call me up, Urban Dictionary. um, so you can get the shirt. That's again tinyurl.com/Atia Live 2, spelled out TWO. Anyways, here it is. It is on the slide, so I didn't really have to. Sorry, I have to go back. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, this is Revolver. The album from the Beatles is 1966. Breaking down. The Beatles' 1966 album, Revolver. Revolve Man? No, Revolver. That's not a joke. As you see, it's a very detailed slide because this is basically the only slide that's going to be shown for the entire show, most of the show, as you already know. Anyways, let's get into the album. I'll be using a bunch of different things. Some of them are named here, the Hard Day's Right book, and my big brain, which I added because my brain. You've seen Gravity Falls, You know how Ford has that metal box? It's like my brain. So much stuff is in there, but no Illuminatis can get in and take it. Yeah, that's right. CIA have the turntables. Um, so the thing I'll be using is Hard Day's Right, the book, for the Revolver album. I'll be using the Beatles Bible, which is something I've never used before, so let's see how that goes. And I'm going to be using Wikipedia because I use that in a lot of my things. I know some people say Wikipedia isn't isn't that, but no, I know what's real and what isn't. Kind of. I will point it out if I see it, but if something is just wrong and you know what it is, just email me and I'll correct it at some point. This isn't like a, episode. This isn't like a legit episode. It's the live show. So, don't know where I'd fix that on my next episode. Be like, hey, sorry about that one thing I said about that one thing. But, in that one live show that some of you watched. But, it's whatever, man. So that's the four things I'm going to be using. My big brain. As you see, my awesome podcaster voice is kicking in. I haven't done a podcast in God knows how long because I record them weeks early. Let's make sure audio's good, and then let's get started with the album. As always, this is a normal album, talk about album show. Except we do it funny. Except I try to make it funny. I'm not just funny. Don't patronize me. I'm not funny. Anyways, first we're gonna get into it because it's technically 3, and I somehow dragged it on for 8 minutes. Wow. Okay, so what we're gonna start with is my big brain because God dang Wikipedia, I don't want to donate anything to you. I already donated. Yeah. Thank you, dear donor. Yes, I'm so powerful. Never mind. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna start on Wikipedia. It's the first. Okay. Revolver is the 7th studio album by the English rock group band The Beatles. It was released on August 5th, 1966, and if you look it up on Wikipedia, it does say 5th August 1966, but if you didn't know it, I think it's an England thing, or just, some countries do it. They switch around. You probably can just tell, but they'd switch around the month and the date. So what US does is August 5th. What the UK does is 5th August. I don't get it either, but, year's always at the end because, it's kind of where, as far as I know, that's where it goes. August 5th, 1966, accompanied by the double A-side single Eleanor Rigby and Yellow Submarine. The album was the Beatles' final recording project before their retirement as live performers and marked the group's first overt use of studio technology to date. Building on the advances of their late 1965 release Rubber Soul, it has since become regarded as one of the greatest, most innovative albums in the history of popular music, with recognition centered on its range of musical styles, diverse sound, and lyrical content. Also known as the most underrated Beatles album. Because a lot of people think it's, there's always a debate going on about Sgt. Pepper or Revolver, which one's better. They all came out within a course of a year, I think. Yeah, because I think Sgt. Pepper was July 67, and Revolver is August 66. But you know, you know, that's what I'm trying to say is that a lot of people think Revolver is better than Sgt. Pepper, and a lot of people think Sgt. Pepper is better than Revolver. Um, it's an ongoing debate. It hasn't been resolved. There is no resolve for it. The length of the album is 35 minutes long, which isn't super surprising, as most of the songs are not even 3 minutes long. A lot of them are like 2.5 minutes. There's only a couple that beat that 3 minute mark, but not a lot, not as much as usual ones. And usual Beatles albums usually range from 45 minutes upward of 50, and the White Album at its weird, wacky hour 30. um, and it was recorded from April 6th, 1966 to 21st of June, July, August, and was released 2 months later. Okay, yeah. And let's read you about some of the songs. How about it? And on the book it says that it marked a significant development in the Beatles' sound, as well as the end of an era, the end of the Mop Top era. The end of the Mop Top. Sorry, it's freaking out. The end of the Mop Top era, and it entered, the era of this LSD, psychedelia stuff. Ooh, Rolly. This chair has a Rolly on it. I didn't know that. And the use of sitar in a lot of songs. In the influence of India and all that jazz. But it was the end of their Mop Top phase, which ranged from about 1960 to 1966 or 5, if you want to be like, that's the last album. Rubber Soul was basically probably the last album of their Mop Top era. However, they still had some Mop Toppy songs. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I really do like A Hard Day's Night, but no one agrees. Yeah, so it was also this is the first album where none of the songs were played on stage. It was released, I don't know if it was released before or after. Like, it would be really close, because I think their last tour was in August. I could be wrong. But it was released either before or after, in a really close range to their last tour. However, the Analogs still refused to play it live, because it came out probably during the live shows then. And if people thought that was Rubber Soul, Nowhere Man was played live. That's the only one I know about, because I don't know, not a lot of bootlegs exist on YouTube of these, because there's not cameras were not super in abundance as they were then. So let's talk about the single that came out before Revolver, and that is the single of Paperback Writer and Rain. These both have music videos, which are extremely good. Rain's is in black and white, whereas Paperback Writer is in color. And I think Paperback Writer was directed, maybe even Rain was directed, the videos were directed by Michael Lindsay Hogg, also known for directing the Let It Be documentary 3 years later. It's confusing because it was recorded in 1969 and was released in 1970, so I don't know how that works because I'm not a movie buff. Let's see. So yeah, let's talk about Paperback Writer, which I believe the A-side to Rain as a B-side, and Rain is super good. To any other artist, Rain would be like their best song, but to the Beatles, it's a B-side. Paperback Writer is the song that Paul made after he was asked if he could write a song not about love. The first not about love Beatles song is reportedly Nowhere Man on the Rubber Soul album, released 7 months. I don't know when August is. Is August the 6th month? I don't know. This is why we have. This is why we have editing. Um, is August the? That's not how you spell it. The 6th month. So yeah, it'll be 7 months earlier because August is the 6th month. As far as, is it though? Isn't May is the 5th month? January, February, March, April, May. Yeah, so I'm stupid. August is the 8th month. 9 months earlier. I'm an idiot. 9 months earlier. God, I cannot believe that was on tape. Okay. And he was, and I'll read this, from A Hard Day's Right, and I'll mention that, whenever I do it. Jimmy Savile, which is a British disc jockey, at the time at least, Savile recalled John asking Paul what he was going to do because there was only a few days left before they were due to record. Paul told him that one of his aunts had just asked if he could ever write a single that wasn't about love, remembers Savile. With that thought obviously still in his mind, he walked around the room and noticed that Ringo was reading a book. Sorry, I just got Hard Day's Night. Looking at that book. He took one look at the book. Hold on, sorry, comedy gold. He said he took one look and announced that he would write a song about a book. Paul has said that he has always liked the sound of the words paperback writer and decided to build a story around them. The epistolary style of the song came to him as he drove down to Weybridge for a day's riding with John. As soon as I arrived, I told him that I wanted to write it as if it were a letter, he said. Tony Bramwell recalls that the inspiration for most of the lyric came from an actual letter written to Paul by an aspiring novelist. Paperbacks has caused a publishing revolution, making books available to people who would have found hardbacks too expensive to buy. It's basically the main story. And it says here that the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds influenced the background harmonies of Paperback Writer. If you didn't know that, Pet Sounds would have only been released a month earlier, because Pet Sounds was a 1966 album. If I do recall, Pet Sounds was released on May 16th, 1966, so it would have only been, a couple months old at that point, whereas now it's like, 56. I'm an idiot. 55. Sorry. I keep messing it up, but I'm like, no, that's not it. I know it's not. Anyways. Didn't know that Pet Sounds also inspired Sgt. Pepper. And Pet Sounds was inspired by Rubber Soul, so it's kind of like a circle, except that the Beatles made one of the most influential bands in history. So did, Beach Boys. They made Pet Sounds, well, also Rubber Soul. Three really good albums, can I just say? But Revolver was not part of that. Anyways, Paperback Writer was a #1 single in many countries, including Britain, America, Germany, and Australia. The usual chart topper. The usual chart toppings. The next song, or the B-side of Paperback Writer, was Rain. Rain. It's called Rain. What do you think it was called? Rain. Uh, let's see. Okay. Rain. Wish I had it up. Okay. um. So Rain was also, here's a good one. Rain was was the first Beatles song to use backtracking to its advantage. Um, Wonderfully, and Rain. So here, yeah, let's tell it because I'm already there. Um, and George Martin said that he came up with the experiment. Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna read a little slower. George Martin said that he came up with the idea, backtracking, on his own after the Beatles had left the studio. He played back his new effects to them the next day. John, who wrote Rain at Kenwood, always claimed that he'd discovered the process trying to thread a demo tape of the song on his home recorder while high on marijuana. He was in such a disoriented state that he got the tape twisted, and when he heard it sound like an Eastern religious chant coming from his headphones, he knew he had found a sound which accurately reflected his stone consciousness. Please. Later on, backward taping became a controversial issue in the rock industry during the 70s and 80s, when some artists were accused of concealing hidden messages within their recordings. Paul is dead, man. Miss him, miss him, miss him. Only some people will get that joke. That's awesome. The Beatles had not gone to conceal messages, but simply to suggest a mind free from conventional logic. Also because it's cool. On one level, Rain was a simple song about people moaning because they don't like the weather. As he once said, but on another level, it was a song that recommended transcending the conventional categories of good and evil in the same way that we should be indifferent to the weather, he says. There is... Sorry. There is... God dang it, please! Sorry, I lost my bliss. I was doing so good. Anyways, I'm just gonna get off Rain because my Switch is having a panic attack, and that's what I use to keep track of everything's working good. And it's like, oh, I wrote a video. Come on, please. Oh my God. Please, 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 please. This is so embarrassing. Thank you so much. Okay. What Rain made me think of is that here's a story because everyone loves the stories that I tell. Rain made me think of when you're in elementary school, and it rains and everyone starts screaming and hiding in the shade. But no, they like run around and start screaming. It's absolutely insane. But no, this happened, and if it didn't happen to you, I'm very surprised. It's a very, 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 very it's a very, 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 very probably thing that happens a lot. That makes sense. But here's Taxman. I believe it's the first George song to be the first song in an album. Which is not that surprising. Only had a couple songs per album. Taxman was written by George Harrison after he found himself in the British super tax bracket, which then meant paying 19 shillings and 3 pence out of the 20 shillings, €1 in tax. It had been suggested that the theme music to the TV series Batman may have been an influence. Batman! Brackets! The Taxman chorus at the end of the song bears a resemblance to the Batman chorus This is possible because the first series starred Adam West, as Batman started in January 1966, although it wasn't shown in Britain until May 1966, the month after Taxman was recorded. So maybe it wasn't. No, it probably was. Because you can hear it, like he's listen to the end of the song and then also say Batman instead of Taxman. Also because three letters are only changed in each of the words. Sorry. So only three letters are changed in each of the words. You know. Okay. I was like, how much time do I have left? I'm bombing! I'm bombing out here. But no, I have 46 minutes left. I'm in it for the long haul. Next is Eleanor Rigby, which I originally thought was just part of the Yellow Submarine soundtrack, which I believe, which I also kind of put in the same category as Yellow Submarine because it was in the movie, and it's one of those popular songs that was in that movie. I have no idea why I pair up Yellow Submarine with Eleanor Rigby so much. No idea. Anyways, as with the case with many of Paul's songs, the melody in the first words of Eleanor Rigby came to him as he sat playing his piano by asking himself what type of person he would be picking up rice in a church where a wedding had been. He was eventually led to his protagonist. She was originally going to be named Miss Daisy Hawkins, as it fitted the rhythm. Miss Daisy Hawkins. Anyways, I'm trying to think. Okay, yeah. Paul has said many things about how the title of Eleanor Rigby came about. A bunch of people think that it's because of a grave, which also did say Eleanor Rigby on it. It also was in an area where Paul would have been because it was, I think it was right outside the place that he met John Lennon for the first time in 1957, nearly a decade earlier. And also, he had kind of hung around in that graveyard. Awesome place to hang around, by the way. Graveyards are... I've never been to one. I've only been to one graveyard, and that was in, I don't know, second grade. It's a field trip. It was an awesome field trip. Anyways, he also had said that it was, might have been that, but unconsciously. But he also said that he really liked the name Eleanor, I believe. Because of Eleanor Braun, the leading actress in Help, which was filmed a year earlier, year and a half maybe. And he had just been walking around one day and saw the word Rigby. He strolled by this place called Rigby and Evans Ltd. Wine and Spirit Shippers. Man, you gotta love store names. Or place names. Which was then on the opposite side of the road at number 22. It had the two-syllable surname he was looking for to go with Eleanor. Therefore, Eleanor Rigby. Paul was then struck for an ending to the story, and Shotton suggested that he bring the two lonely people together. And the final verse is, Father Mackenzie takes Eleanor Rigby's funeral and stands beside her grave. At the time, the idea was knocked down by John, who thought that Shotton had missed the point, but Paul, who didn't say anything at the time, used the scene to finish off the song, and later acknowledged the help he'd received. Extraordinarily, sometime in the 80s, the gravestone of Eleanor Rigby was discovered in the churchyard of St. Peter's, Woolton, within yards of the spot where John and Paula had met at the church's annual summer fete in 1957. It's clear that Paul didn't get his idea directly from the gravestone, but it's possible that he saw it as a teenager and just saw it as a teenager, and it was just in his subconscious, locked up like all locked up in the subconscious. Third song on the track. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna record another episode after this. I'm breaking down just this 18 minutes of one. I'm Only Sleeping was the first draft of John's lyric for the first draft for John's lyric for I'm Only Sleeping, then called I'm Sleeping, was scratched onto the back of a letter from the post office dated April 25th, 1966, reminding him that he owed them £12 and 3 shillings for an outstanding radiophone bill. 2 days later, the Beatles started to record it. It is clear from this first draft that he was writing about the joys of staying in bed rather than about a drug-influenced dream state. His first opening line was, "Try to sleep again, gotta get to sleep." Got to get you into my life, gotta get to sleep. John loved his bed. When he wasn't sleeping in it, he'd be lying on it, propped up by pillows, writing or watching television. I'm Only Sleeping celebrated the bed and its value as a place for contemplation. It also prefigured watching the wheels on the Double Fantasy album. I'm just gonna give the bare minimum on these ones because I don't want to because I gotta keep it consistent. I gotta make sure that the quality is as good as the information. Therefore, I cannot go on for an hour, probably. I don't know. It depends on how long this takes. I'm ending up using this book more than anything else. Although, the next song is called V2, which is a George Harrison song. It doesn't even say that in the song, but it's very, very heavy sitar. Like, it has a lot of sitar. And that's not a joke. It has a lot of sitar. I don't know why I'm laughing so much. It's not funny. Why? Although our Norwegian wood had featured sitar, it had been added as an afterthought. Love You Too was the first song written by George, where the instrument was written by George with the instrument specifically in mind. On this recording, he also featured tabla player Enil Backwat. I hope I said that right. In his biography, I Am Mine, George recollected that he had used tabla and sitar on the basic track, overdubbing vocals and guitar at the later stage. However, Mark Lewison, author of the complete Beatles recording sessions, gained access to the original tapes and discovered that the sitar didn't appear until the third take, and the tabla player wasn't added until the sixth. The song's working title was Granny Smith, after the Apple variety, simply because George couldn't think of anything better. As the words "You Too" don't appear in the song, the eventual title is rather puzzling. Perhaps might have been more appropriate, as this sums up what the song is saying. Next song is what is regarded as one of the best Beatles songs by the Beatles, by other people, by some of the Beatles, as I would say, and also one of the most regarded as one of the most beautiful songs of all time, and that is Here, There, and Everywhere. I know I'm going through this fast, but hey, can't blame me. You can. You can do it. You can do whatever. Before I get into Here, There, and Everywhere, I thought I might remind you about, the stuff you can do for fun. I'm only going to go through it because I said it a lot at the beginning of the stream. However, I like to go through it a couple times just to make sure. Hey, you can do these things in the chat if you're here when it's live. Or if you're here for the 14 days it's available afterwards. You cannot. It's a lie. But you can do this if you're here now. You can request some classic movie trivia. You can tell us what you know. And read the things in parentheses because I already read them. Give me a video to watch. And more. A classic album means 1999 and under. If you have any questions about the list, ask in chat, and we'll also talk about the live shirt again. It's a special live shirt. Okay, I was kind of hoping just to go to the URL so I could show you the shirt, but it's not. But anyways, what's this? Get back to where we once belonged. Okay. You need to go to the shirt. You get the shirt, please, God, get the shirt. Get the special live shirt. It's very simple, but it's very good. I would get it if I had money, but you have money probably, because you probably have a job, maybe. tinyroll.com/AtiaLive2. That is again tinyurl.com/ATYALIVETWO. You can get that, and if you remove the TWO, you can get the original live shirt from the original show, which I also have on the same slideshow. Which you can also go there to get the original live shirt from the September live show that we did. Anyways, let's get back to the album and get on to Here, There, and Everywhere, making each day of the year. With things starting to look up again in his roman with Jane Asher, Paul wrote that what is widely regarded as his greatest love song. Both John and Paul declared that it was one of their favorite Beatles' song. Paul eventually re-recorded it for use in the film Give My Regards to Broad Street, released in the 80s. Paul wrote Here, There, and Everywhere in June 1966 while sitting by John's outdoor pool. He arrived early with a recording session only to find, plot twist, John was not awake. He was asleep. He was asleep. He was just asleep. So he went outside and wrote the song, and by the time John had woken up, he had the entire song done. The song was one off the album most obviously influenced by Pet Sounds, I guess. Paul had been particularly taken with the shimmering quality of God Only Knows, and wanted to write a number that captured the same mood. I believe while John and Paul were on tour, when they were reviewing the songs that they had so far, they came across Here, There, and Everywhere, and John said, I like that one. And Paul's never forgotten that, because when you get that kind of, compliment, you ain't gonna forget it. I said ain't. That's how you know it's real. I said a word that technically doesn't exist. It's a big spider. Next is a song that is also very popular that the Beatles made, which is called, you might have heard of it, Yellow Submarine. It sparked a movie. It's also a children's sing-along. Paul had to claim Yellow Submarine was just a children's song despite critics detecting druggy references. And Stanley Unwin, whoa, who is that? So yeah, Yellow Submarine is probably one of the more popular Beatles songs. Well, not one of the more popular. I don't think it's in the top 10 popular, on, Spotify. But everyone's heard of it. Everyone's heard Hey Jude and Yesterday, but everyone's heard of Yellow Submarine. Is it on top? 1 second. What is the more popular Beatles song? Because I know Spotify has, top 10. These are the most streamed ones. And Here Comes the Sun is at number 1. And Let It Be is closing in. I'd like to tell you that Let It Be is... Oh my god. I feel like at this point Let It Be is going to pass Come Together. Because it's at number 2 right now in their songs. Yeah, that's not surprising. No, it's not even in top 10. Top 10's Here Comes the Sun, Let It Be, Come Together, Yesterday, Hey Jude, Blackbird, Twist and Shout, In My Life, Something, Help. 2 George songs. Oh my god. Good job. Good job, George. You did it. None of them have 1 billion listens yet. However, they're kind of close. I'm kind of sad that none of them have 1 billion listens. They deserve it. Anyways, we're going to talk about Yellow Submarine. The idea of writing a children's song about different colored submarines came into Paul's head as he was drifting into sleep at the Asher home one night. This was to develop into Yellow Submarine, the tale of a boy who listens to the tall stories of an old sailor about his exploits in the land of submarines and decides to go sailing and see for himself. Between 1962 and 1965, I don't know how I'm saying that, the Beatles had obeyed the unwritten rules for writing pop singles. They should have the center last less than 3 minutes, commercial length. Commercial length is actually 2 to 5 minutes, but a lot of them were under 3 minutes for the reason that it's more commercial. And be easily reproducible for concert. It's a laughable one. They were now enjoying seeing how many of these rules could be broken. while still retaining the immediacy and excitement of commercial pop. Paperback Writer had been their first non-love single. Eleanor Rigby and Rain were the first of their singles never to be played at a Beatles concert. And Yellow Submarine was the first sing-along song. Paul used only short words in the lyric because he wanted it to be learned quickly and sung by children. Hey, mother, guess what song I learned today? We all live in yellow. Yellow. I'm doing a face while doing that too, also staring at that huge spider. It's honestly crazy, and the only thing that's keeping me, like, backed up in my seat. I believe, yeah, so Paul also did have a time when he played it for Donovan, because they just, played their latest songs. Paul was like, I think that's how, like, the thing goes. I don't know the exact piano chords. Does he use triads? Do you know? I don't know. Put it in chat. I'm just making sure that there's nothing in chat. I'm not gonna check that on stream. I don't know. The next song is called She Said, She Said, which was written by John Lennon, who is not as popular as Jesus, I don't think. And I think it was written around a thing that Peter Fonda said. I almost said Peter Asher, and that's not a person. That's not a person. I'm mixing two names together. Wabam, wabam, it's a name now. No, it's not. Plot twist. But apparently everyone was just on, LSD. They were in with Lucy and this guy with diamonds. On that on the smelling color stuff. And Mr. Fonda had said, I know what it's like to be dead, because he died and got revived, I think. Let's see. I'm gonna fact check this. Okay, I gotta look it up then. Hey guys, welcome to Google. Peter Fonda died? Question mark. Is this the same guy? Is Peter Fonda dead? Oh my god, Peter Fonda is dead. Okay, so this isn't funny. On his 11th birthday. Okay, so that would have been February 23rd, 1951. He accidentally shot himself in the abdomen and nearly died. Okay, and then while with Lucy and this guy with diamonds, he said, I know what it's like to be dead, and this inspired the Beatles song, She Said, She Said. They're all just tripping. Good day, sunshine. Dum da dum da, good day, sunshine. I am a funny rabbit. Anyways. It's me. It's not Halloween yet. Good day, sunshine was written by Paul at John's house on a particularly sunny day. Paul admitted in 1984 that it had been influenced by the Lovin' Spoonful, a 1960s group, if you know what I mean. I'm done doing that joke, or else I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna stop doing this show if I keep doing I'm not funny. Why do I do that? Alright, this is my retirement. It's my last thing of 2021. Get my gist. specific song that inspired Paul that day was Daydream, the Lovin' Spoonful's first British hit, which was in the top 20 as the Beatles recorded Revolver in May 1966. Like Good Day Sunshine, Daydream starts off with a choppy guitar beat before launching into a story of love-induced bliss heightened by a beautiful weather. I'm blowing the day to take a walk in the sun. I fall my face in the Hummer's no mown lawn. One of the wonderful things the Beatles had going for them, says Sebastian, is that they were so original that when they did cop an idea from someone else, it never occurred to you. I thought there was one or two songs which your spoonful, but it wasn't until Paul mentioned it in a Playboy interview that I specifically realized we'd inspired Good Day Sunshine. Sunshine. It's a hard word, isn't it? Sunshine. It's a weird word. I'm going to think critically about the word sunshine for the next 25 minutes. I'm going to think about it. I'm not going to say it, but you'll know I'll be thinking about it for about the remainder of it. The episode. Actually, it's exactly the remainder of the episode. We've only been doing this for 35 minutes. The next song is what John dismissed as a horror in 1971 and just a throwaway in 1980. Sad. Pour one out. It's a moment of silence in 1980. And it's called And Your Bird Can Sing. I was trying to fit the and your bird can sing into a sentence because it starts with and. It's about someone who just doesn't get him. And people think that it was probably also written about Paul, who didn't know that because on one take of And Your Bird Can Sing, the take just erupts with laughter. If you've ever heard, I believe it's And Your Bird Can Sing take 7. Your birds can sing, but you don't get me. Like 7. It's take 2. Okay. Man, I laugh at this too. If you listen to And Your Bird Can Sing take 2, or the Anthology 2 version, you can hear at the beginning before they say, "Tell me that you got," you know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean. I'm a funny rabbit. Okay, so if you listen, you can listen really closely, and I don't know which channel. You can hear John munching. And then when Paul hears this and starts doing the song, you can hear him erupt with laughter every once in a while. And then at one point, John gets the lyric wrong. And then Paul hears this, and instead of "when your bird is broken," he says "when your bike is broken." Or no, was it? I don't know which one it is anymore. Bird can sing. I'm trying to look up what the original lyric is. The original lyric "when your bike is broken" or "when your bird is broken"? I don't know which one, but he said the wrong one. He said which one is wrong. He said the which one. He either said bird or bike. I don't know. And then Paul broke down again until the end of the take, and then John says, "That was it, right?" And then it just ends. That was it, wasn't it? The period during which Revolver was recorded coincided with a time when Paul had a ravenous appetite for new cultural experiences, and this made John feel uneasy because he felt that, as an ex-art student, this was his territory. In April 1966, Paul was in print enthusing about the different forms of music he was getting into. Indian, classical, electronic, and bemoaning the fact that there simply wasn't time to listen to everything he wanted to. The only thing to do is to listen to everything, and then you make up your mind about it. Could talk like this have led John to write "Tell me that you heard every sound there is"? If this was a put down, again, it's unlikely that he would have. Oh, so the wrong lyric is "when your bike is broken." Man, I hate when my bird is broken. My bike, but no, my bird. Hey, broke. How'd your bird break? Oh no, you don't want to know how my bird broke. It ain't good. The next song is another song, again, also regarded as a Beatles classic and a Paul McCartney amazing song, is For No One. It's just over 2 minutes, 2 minutes and 1 second. Um, and I believe it's too short because I would love to hear more to it. Um, with its haunting melody, this is For No One. If I didn't mention that, I'm saying it now. With its haunting melody and horn section, there was one. Was one of Paul's most beautiful songs. For No One was written in a rented chalet half a mile outside the Swiss ski resort of Klosters, where he and Jane Astor spent a brief holiday in March 1966. He returned from Switzerland to work on Revolver, and Jane began rehearsals for her role as the young Ellen Terry in 60,000 Nights at the Royal Theatre, Bristol. Through a series of flashbacks of their life together, the song captures the dawning realization that someone's feelings of love had disappeared. In an early interview, Paul said that it was all about his own experience of living with a woman when he was fresh from leaving home. The working title was Why Did It Die? And he later admitted that it was probably written about another argument with Jane. The next song is... The next song is Dr. Robert. Dr. Robert. It was written about an actual doctor who had met a lot of famous people. Whoa. And gave them medicine in quotations. Yeah, I think his name was actually Dr. Robert Freeman, a 60-year-old German-born physician with a practice on East 78th Street. Known as Dr. Robert or the Great White Father, he had a shock of white hair. Freeman was well connected to the city's vibrant art scene. He had helped, among others, Thelonious Monk and Charlie Parker, whose death certificate he signed in 1955, and had a reputation for being generous with amphetamines. I have a clientele that is remarkable from every sphere of life, he once boasted. I could tell you in 10 minutes probably 100 famous names who come here. John, who wrote Dr. Robert, was one of those famous names, according to Freeman's daughter. Initially prescribed as antidepressants, amphetamines soon became a recreational drug for hip New Yorkers. One former patient of Dr. Roberts, quoted in the New York Times in 1973, said, "If you want to make a big night of it, go over to Max's," Dr. Max Jacobson, and then over to Freeman's, and then down to Bishop's, Dr. John Bishop. It was just another kind of bar hopping. The film director Joel Schumacher, who used speed doctors in the 60s, agrees, "We thought of them as vitamin injections, but then became speed freaks." Administering amphetamines was not illegal at this time, although regulations warned against prescribing excessive quantities or giving the drug when it wasn't necessary. Dr. Robert lost his license to practice for 6 months in 1968, and in 1975 was expelled from the New York State Medical Society for malpractice. Asked by the New York Times in March 1973 to defend his actions, he said, "The addicts killed a good drug." He died in 1987. Got to get you in my life. The next song is "Got to Get You in My Life." Got to get you into my life. Get over here. Got to Get You in My Life was written by Paul, who wanted to emulate the Motown sound recently developed by the writer producer team of Holland, Dozier Holland with Supremes. I don't know, I'm just laughing at my joke. It was the first Beatles track to use brass. John believed that by mentioning another kind of mind in the lyrics, Paul was alluding to his drug experiences. He has since confirmed that he was. It was a hymn in praise of pot, disguised as a love song. It wasn't a woman that he needed every single day of his life, but a joint. Okay. The next song, or the second to last song. Oh my god, almost done. Oh, it's awesome. I'm so tired. It's nothing against you guys. I'm just so tired. I didn't get water before this, which is something I usually do, so haven't had much to drink today, to be completely honest. Anyways, I Wanted to Tell You was written by George, About the frustrations of having things to say but unable to articulate them. It's about the avalanche of thoughts that are so hard to write down or say or transmit, he later said, adding that if he were to write the song again, he would amend the bridge section, which says, "But if I seem to act unkind, it's only me, it's not my mind. That's confusing things," so that it was clear that his mind was responsible for the confusion. The mind is the thing that helps about telling us to do this and that. What we need is to lose the mind, explained George. Sorry, that's a Ringo one, is it? That's either a Ringo one or a Paul one, you know. You forgot to add the you know. You know. Appropriately for a song which was about not knowing what to say, I want to tell you was recorded under the nonsensical title Laxton's Superb, a name of an English apple. Man, George really likes apples. I think another song was also about apple. Was also named after an apple brand, or he just really likes fruit. I just kicked something. um. Um. First directed by engineer Geoff Emerick, it later became known as I Don't Know. I don't think he knew what the song title was. I don't think he was. Okay. After George Martin had asked George what he wanted to title it, he had given him this answer. Or I Want to Tell You. That's the name of the song. Woohoo! If you want to know, before we get into the last song, I'm reading from this book. And also using my mind. And sometimes Wikipedia and Google, if it's like a fact I gotta look up and stuff. But, it's all up on the screen. Most of it is. And I'm only reading for the fact that I'm an idiot and I forget to write scripts. And when I do write the scripts, like this time, they weren't good. Like the script I wrote this time, or like, the bullet points, which was more like it, was bad. It was confusing, and I had mixed around some of the songs, and it was bad. So I didn't use it. That's why I'm reading from this book. It was originally a script again, but I'm bad at doing things, and I'm an idiot. I don't take this personally. Don't think that I'm putting myself down. I'm not. I'm trying to be funny while also saying that I am bad at making bullet points. Anyways, last song on the album is probably the most experimental Beatles song to date at this point, and also could just be of their entire career. Tomorrow Never Knows, which is a good song. Some people don't like it. Some people are like, oh, I don't like this song. I don't like Wild Honey Pie, but those two are awesome songs. Some people don't like Revolution 9, but I love Revolution 9. It's awesome. I just one-upped myself unconsciously. Revolution 9 is way more experimental, but Tomorrow Never Knows is the most experimental thing they do until 1968, or up to that point. Tomorrow Never Knows is the most experimental thing they did from 1962 to 1968 until Revolution 9 came out, and some people would say that this one's more experimental because it has more streams on Spotify, I think. As the last track on the album and the clearest signpost of things to come, it's often assumed that Tomorrow Never Knows was the last track recorded. In fact, it was the first one. Certainly the weirdest and most experimental piece of music to appear under the Beatles' name at the time. This was John's attempt to create in words and sounds a suitable guide track for the LSD experience. The words were borrowed, adapted, and embellished from Timothy Leary's 1964 book, The Psychedelic Experience, which is itself a poetic reinterpretation of the ancient Book of the Dead. The original also working title of the song was called The Void. Well, there's nothing in a void. Sort of was just 2 minutes of dead air. But no. Tomorrow Never Knows is way better. If it was a 2 minutes of just white noise, it would have also been super good because the Beatles would have done something with it. And the void came from Leary's line, "Beyond the restless flowing electricity of life is the ultimate reality." The void. Its eventual title was a Ringoism. A previous Ringoism was also famously known as A Hard Day's Night. that John adopted because it added levity to what otherwise might have sounded like a bleak journey into nothingness. The actual sound of the piece, which consists of tape loops made by each of the Beatles fading in and out, grew out of Paul's home experimentation on his tape recorder. He had this little grundig, says George Martin. He found by moving the erase head and putting a loop on, he could actually saturate the tape with a single noise. It would go round and round, and eventually the tape couldn't absorb any more. He'd bring it in and play it. John wanted it to sound like a chorus of Tibetan monks chanting on a mountaintop. He says he wanted to hear the words, but didn't want to hear them. He said he wanted to hear the words, but he didn't want to hear them. Or whatever. The result was used by recording what John sounded like out of a Leslie speaker. I believe the sounds that sound like birds is actually laughing. It's laughing. It's laughing. I swear to you, it is. Man, that's it, isn't it? That's it, isn't it? That's the album. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, listening, whatever you were doing during this show. It is always gonna be completely free when I do these until it's not. Of course, that's how it always works. Raggy, that's a swiggly. I promise you I'm not energized. I'm just very, very, very energized because I haven't done a podcast in quite a while. I've been recording them weeks early in advance, or I've just been planning on skipping weeks. Like, not joking. Because there are times when I feel like doing these and times when I don't, and I usually do it when I feel like doing it. Anyways, thank you so much for listening, watching, whatever you've been doing for the past hour. This live replay will be up for about 2 weeks after this original recording. So, God, I'm bad with month changes. 14 days. It should be up until about January 13th. And again, I don't know if I'm gonna, reproduce it, or if I'm just gonna let it fade into the void of existence. So yeah, I don't know yet. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for listening. I'm gonna go chug some water. That's be my catchphrase. Alright, thank you for listening to the podcast. I'm gonna go chug some water, or just a drink in general. I'm gonna go chug some juice. And yeah, I'll be back probably after the new year. Peace. Or tomorrow. Depends on my, mood. Alright. Goodbye, everybody.